And so it is, my dear ones. Isn't it wonderful? That's all we have to do, really, to be really in prayer, to be in true prayer. Because prayer is a sensation and an experience. That's what prayer is. It's realization. And sometimes we need words to get to it, but the words are not the prayer. The open receptivity to having the experience that provides the experience is the prayer. There's no great singular formula to it, and there's no great defining it at all. Can't be defined, it has to be experienced. But we've had so many misconceptions of prayer. That's for certain, sure. And we learned to say prayers from the time we were knee-high to a grasshopper. And now I lay me down to sleep. God bless Mommy, God bless Daddy, and the usual. Which are all very beautiful, all heard and received, and have had an effect. But as we grow up spiritually, we learn to become the prayer. We stop saying the prayer so that we can be the prayer. Just think of yourself as a perpetual lamp, perpetual light that you see in the Catholic and the Anglican churches. There's always a light. Always a light indicating the presence of Spirit. They never go out, they're perpetual lights. And each one of us is that. And no matter how much we might try to quench ourselves, it's impossible. No matter what mischief we try to get up to and douse that light, it's impossible. There it is, burning as brightly as ever it was. And we not even knowing it, not aware of it, if only we could know the power that we are and have available to us, if only. But we're getting there. Why can I say that with such assurance? Because we already know it. It's just buried. We just have to dig it up, to get in there, like Michelangelo freeing the angel out of the stone. Chisel away at it until it appears. So that's what spiritual practice is, chiseling away at that light that wants to be seen and felt by you. By you. Seen and felt. Now, as I was thinking this morning early on, I wonder what it is the Spirit wants us to know today. Because that's what I do in the mornings. I wonder what Spirit wants us to know. Every morning I do. And then a book reached my hand, and it's a book by Richard Rohr, who's a very, very good and wonderful theologian. Now, I have so many books of Richard Rohr, and I didn't write down the name of it on this little extract. But the chapter that fell open for me was the chapter on conversion. Now, you all have an idea about what conversion is. We talk about conversions all the time. We talk about conversion in the sense, oh, he got converted to whatever. She was converted to whatever. But really, that's a very small definition of what, spiritually speaking, conversion means. I'll tell you what conversion means. I'll give you a clue. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. I'm sure no one has ever heard that before. That's the kind of conversion, spiritually speaking, we talk about. It's conversion of what we've been thinking and feeling and seeing and hearing, and transforming that into a higher way of thinking and feeling and seeing and all the rest of it. It's really called Metanoia in Greek, which is a conversion of the heart. And the heart is the inner mind. Anywhere you hear scripture say heart, it's your inner heart. It's that kind of conversion. It's an awakening into understanding. Oh my goodness me, I spent all my time running like an ant in a trance around the place, doing and doing and doing and getting and getting and getting and wanting and wanting and wanting and succeeding and succeeding and achieving and achieving. And all the time, I've forgotten. I don't have to live in that frenzied way of being, and that life is not about getting and getting and getting and succeeding and succeeding and succeeding in the outer world. Rather, we didn't come here for that at all. We came here to be the light that we are so that we could serve the light here. We came here to experience a metanoia, a change of heart within ourselves and within our world. We came here to serve that conversion, to be a very real and present help in it all. So when you remember these things, you think, oh my gosh, I have so much more to be revealed in and through and from me. Because I do contain all of the wisdom of the ages. Everybody does. But see, you and I have somehow associated getting to that self-realization with doing and doing and doing and doing and learning and learning and learning more and more and more and all of that. And we're focused on the outside world, when all of the time it waits within you for recognition. You're carrying around with you the treasure that you're seeking. And yes, you will succeed and you will achieve and you will accomplish. And I'll guarantee you none of it will satisfy you. It will for 10 minutes or so. And then you're off on another quest. There has to be more. And where do you go for the more? Outside again, out there somewhere. But all the time, the more is already what you are within you. You're the container of it. All the time we're so busy outsourcing, all we would have had to do was insource. And then we'd be moved to go to whatever resources outside that would help us. And especially when we're afraid, as soon as we're afraid, we're going to look out there somewhere for something that's going to help us. We lose all confidence in ourselves. I got to go see this one, I got to see that one. Oh, maybe he can do something. And then it all starts. The turbulence, the truculence, the agitation, the fright. So if you and I in those kinds of moments could just pause and breathe, take a breath. I know there was a time when you used to laugh at people saying, oh, just take a deep breath. For God's sake, what's a deep breath going to do for me when my leg is hanging off or whatever? And yet it does do something within us. You're taking the breath to the situation. You're taking the situation into the breath. So conversion can be a whole spectacular and new thing for us all. Instead of thinking of it just in one way, conversion from being a sinner, conversion from whatever, conversion to whatever. Conversion is not a to or from, it's an experience. It's the metanoia, the change of heart. It's the putting on the mind that was in Christ Jesus, the Buddha mind. It's allowing yourself to seek first the great, amazing, indescribable kingdom of life and light and intelligence within you. Touching that, trusting that, believing in it. Believing that you can stand on your own two spiritual feet, which doesn't mean you won't be led to, for the external help that is required, because as human beings, we have human beings' needs. But if only you could just know, and I could just know. Self-reliance, as Emerson said. It's all about self-reliance. As Dr. Bitz used to say when he'd pound his desk, I rely upon principle, the presence, whatever you want to call it, infinite intelligence. I rely upon principle. What do you rely on? What do I rely on? Is the question. Where is your reliance? What's the first thing you reach for with regard to reliance in a challenging situation? Do you seek first the kingdom of higher consciousness? Do you leave your shoes outside, which means your ailments, etc., outside, and enter in to where there's peace and quiet and calm and whatever else you experience in that state? It's different for all of us. But it's a beautiful place to be. And when you come back again out of it, you feel so much the better for having been in it, and your whole mind has a change to it. And you feel more competent, capable, better able to live life, do life, be life. And that may last 10 minutes, but you've had the experience and you can't deny it. And every time you have that experience, it'll last longer. And the need for it will become longer too. But then, I could speak to the cows until they eventually go home to their night supper and their warm shelter. And it might not make any difference to me at all. I don't know about the cows. You have the power. Now, some of us in this room may not feel empowered at all, far quite the opposite maybe. But even if you're on your last piece of energy, you have the power. It's within you, as it always was and as it always will be. And that is your infinite intelligent self. I'm sure if anybody wrote a play around this, it would be a comedy. And it would be the infinite intelligent self within the observer going, oh my God, there she goes again. Will this kid ever learn? She's killing herself. She's wearing herself out. She misses it every time. I guess we'll have to help her somehow. Always turn to yourself in any kind of a situation to begin with. Get quiet. Just get quiet. And you'll only get quiet by letting yourself come to even breath. Just keep breathing, even if you're hyperventilation to begin with. So I've got to handle the breath. Let the breath take charge. Once you start to breathe, and if your only focus is on your breath, you will breathe evenly. am breathing now. My desire is to breathe evenly, calmly, quietly, because it is my breath that empowers me. And it is in the breathing of the breath I know Spirit's presence is with me. I can feel it. I can feel it. That's all I have to do to feel the presence. Now sometimes you say, but God is very far away from me now today. No, you kind of got it twisted. You're very far away from God today. In your mind. Because the same beautiful whole presence of Spirit is always with us. Because when God, and you learn that in Science of Mind 101, whatever Spirit creates, Spirit enters into and remains. Isn't that wonderful? So you're never without your originating being, the being that originated you, from which you originated yourself to. Remind yourself at times. Blow it on the owie, and then put the antibiotic on or whatever. Do you remember when your mom used to kiss everything better as a little one? I had some pretty bad falls. I climbed trees and did all of that. My mother would just say, come, let me kiss it better. She'd kiss it and then put the ointment on and the little Band-Aid. Off I'd run again to do exactly the very same thing that caused me to fall and hurt my knee. There was magic in that mother's kiss. Well, if there's magic in a mother's kiss, can you imagine what there is in the kiss of life itself? I think we should be hawing all over ourselves. It's a wonderful thing that you, sitting in this room and everybody listening in, knows you're in the presence and the presence is in you. And you can rely upon its presence to serve you, to help you, to soothe you, to comfort you, to do whatever it is of good that you desire. That's the Holy Spirit aspect of God. Remember when Jesus went? He said, fear not, worry not. I will send you a comforter. The comforter is the Holy Spirit, which is another aspect of the divine. And we've always had the comforter with us, always. Because remember, what the Creator creates is always created out of itself. There's nothing else to create out of. Like there wasn't a little blob of something rolling around one day and Spirit looked at it and said, oh, that was interesting. Maybe I could make something out of that. No, you were breathed into life. The breath of life brought you into being. I don't know how many lifetimes it could take for us to get it. But wouldn't it be nice if we all could get it this lifetime? It's not going to happen as you and I chew the books up, burn the night oil, as we say. We're going to get it by being still, quiet, and open to knowing and experiencing the presence. That's how we're going to get it. That's why I love to see parents teaching their little ones how to meditate at a very early age, because the parents would be meditators themselves. And it begins with, okay, sweetheart, Mom and Dad are going to meditate now, And we want you to take your book and go into your little quiet corner and be quiet. They're teaching them how to be quiet, to be in their own company. Sometimes you're going to have to tell yourself, you better get your whatever and get into your quiet corner and settle down. You need time out in your quiet corner. You have to take yourself in hand before somebody else has to do it for you, and they can't do it for you, but you know how that goes. Take your own self in hand. We have to do it throughout every day, sometimes more than others. No, I don't think so. Focus. You know what you've decided for yourself in the day. Focus. Don't be sidetracked. What we learned too in the 80s from all the psychology of the day, all 70s and 80s inner child work, etc., etc., etc. I'm okay, you're okay. Do you remember all of that? And then the students were given as examples, you know? You have students getting ready for their summer exams. And so one student just goes into their room, sits at their desks, and gets on with it. Another one looks around and says, oh, it's a great day today. Yeah, but I have study to do. Goes in, starts to study, is halfway maybe through and decides, I need a break, I have to get out and get some air and sunshine. And then there's the third student that says, okay, this is a big day, I have a lot to do, I'm going to start my study now. And when lunchtime comes, when I have my lunch, I'll take my lunch outside and have a break outside. Then I'll get back into my study. So which of the three would you think was handling the situation the best? Number 3. Sometimes you have to take yourself in hand every day to get yourself on the trajectory you wanted to be on when you woke up. And remember this, mere words have something of quicksand about them. Mere words have something of quicksand about them. Only experience is the rope that is thrown to us, George Battle says. And yet, we spend so much time wording, don't we? Talk, 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 talk. Reading words, reading words, reading words, reading words. Quicksand. Only experience. So are all your words giving you a good experience, providing you with a good experience? We're all told in the spiritual world that we need to become more able observers, witnesses, seers, sharpening perception, getting clear, seeing. Don't take anything at face value, what people say, or what they do, or what they even look like, any of that. Don't take any of that on face value. Be quiet, be still, and observe and see. And when you speak, speak with clarity. And when you speak, speak with certainty as much as you can. Those who have self-realized have always been amazing listeners. An amazing listener is somebody who listens with a presence. You are aware that you are being listened to. You are aware that you have the attention of the other person and that you are their focus right now. they're not even thinking, oh God, she's in deep trouble. What kind of rubbish is he speaking? No, they're just listening. They're making no judgments. They're just listening. And they're endeavoring to stay as open to what you're saying as possible, to get beyond your words and perceive what you're not saying. That's what good therapists do. And there are therapists, and there are therapists. So I'm going to ask you, where is it you want to be in your life right now? And what makes you think that you cannot be there right now? What kind of blockages have you set up in yourself to stop you from being where you'd like to be? Do you even know where you want to be? Do you even stop for a minute to ask yourself the question, is this where I want to be today? And you only get to ask yourself that in the day. Because the day is the only place you have power. Where do I want to be today? What do I want to have happen today? Who do I want to be today? How do I want to be perceived today by myself to begin with? What kind of perception do I have of myself today? Because that perception that you have of yourself today is going to influence your whole day. Oh, well, I'm a this, well, I'm a that, well, I'm the other today. Don't ever say that if there's a negative following I am. You can say, I feel too tired. I just don't feel interested. I don't feel like it. And then snap out of it. Brush yourself off and start all over again. What do I really want to feel today, do today, succeed in today, and achieve today? What is that like? Where does it begin? One step at a time, one thought at a time, keeping step. Your good thought is no good unless there's a step that goes with it. If thinking is not creating movement, it's a waste of your time, no matter how cute and wonderful and lovely it is. Life is always in a state of flux. It's always in movement. It neither slumbers nor sleeps, that which guards Israel. You're not just quiet and still when you're asleep either. Your mind is still roaming around until you train it to have time out and be still. Same way you would a puppy or a kitten or whatever. Fish are more difficult. So what is it going to be for us for the rest of the day, my dear ones? I'm asking you that very seriously. What do you have in store now for yourself the rest of the day? You can make up your mind. I'll give you 15 seconds. Close your eyes and tell yourself what the rest of this day is going to be like for yourself. And now say with me, and so it is. And so it is. Well, unbelievably, we've come to the end of our time together. I'll share this another time. But I did share the main concept, which is conversion. So it's time now for our little celebration. As you know, my dear ones, the best joy any truth student will ever experience is the joy of making a difference in someone else's life. I say truth students because that's what we want to do. At least we say we want to do that. We want to be very real and present help wherever we are. We want to make a difference if we can. we want to share of our good. And most of that you'll never see, or it may not be made known to you. But mark my words, if you have that desire, that's what's going to happen. So whatever good it is that you're sharing, and there are so many ways to give of our good, and we all know different people and their strengths when it comes to giving, what they're good at giving, but we also know where they're not so good at giving. So I trained myself, once I got into spiritual practice in a big way, to take care of the 4 quadrants. And there is, of course, 1 or 2 that were more inclined to be in partnership with. And I say that to you because just the good thought that you're thinking is giving of your good. The kind little thing that you do is giving of your good. Your abundance. Your abundance covers every single aspect of your life, all of it, every single part of it. You can give from your full abundance. And you know where you're less inclined to give in your life. And that might be a focus for you. We all do know. Some people have no problem putting their hand in their pocket and giving you money, but don't ask of their time. Don't ask of anything else. They'll give you the money. Some people will give you anything but their money. Their time, their whatever, but don't ask them for money. And there's all the rest of us in between, you know? So anytime you're doing, as far as giving is concerned, do it with a big, big, full heart. And let it go, whether it be a jumper or somebody liked or whatever it is you're giving. Do it with great gusto and joy within yourself and never look back. And know it's going to be doing and doing and doing far longer than you might imagine. It's like you drop a little pebble in the ocean, the rings, concentric. So I'm very grateful to all of you who give, and all of you in this room and looking in, you give in so many different ways. I'm very grateful for your support of our center financially, because that's how we assure the legacy for the generations to come. And I know the blessing that all will derive as a result of it. And again, it comes to me when I hear my mother all the time, don't give the trousers and cut the buttons out of them. If you're going to give the trousers, just don't cut the buttons out of them. Well, that would be her genre. They'd have suspenders and buttons and so on. What good is a pair of pants if you can't keep them up? And so in other words, give with a good heart. She was trying to teach us that from the time we were little. If you're going to give it with a good heart, or don't give it at all. But it's better than, no, it's not. Bad attitude going out with whatever it is you're giving is not good. Anyway, I could get going again on just the things my mother used to say. Now we're going to bless this. We're going to release it. We're going to send it out there for good. And we're going to know that it's our delight and our joy to be able to do so. And indeed, gratitude, we're going to do it because, we're amongst the hugely blessed people on this planet. Most people couldn't give much of anything. Most people on the planet. They're in dire circumstances. But here we are feeling abundant in every way. So we take our gift between our blessing hands and we say, divine love consecrates this gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper. all those who give, and all those who receive. And so I rejoice in the sharing of my good as I release it. I love to change it a little bit to make sure we're all awake, including myself. So here we are, my dear. Thank you so much for doing what you do. Appreciate that very much. Has anybody got a question? I'm sure all the people there looking in probably have questions. Do all of us here have a question? Yes, dear.
I've been in jury duty the last 5 days, and I was real nervous at first in line before going into the courthouse. And after being questioned for 5 days, I felt empowered, and I felt this grace. And then I was released yesterday.
Wow. So you didn't have to serve?
No.
You just had to go 5 days and answer questions?
Right.
Wow. Let me ask you, did you want to serve?
I did after.
No, in the beginning, did you want to
No,
serve?
I didn't want to go.
And you got what you wanted, didn't you? Because it turned out that in the end you were willing to, and because you were willing to, you didn't have to. See, isn't it wonderful the way that works?
Right,
Yeah. Yeah, the jury service there's very few people I know who really enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Say, oh goody, I get to go now and be on a jury. Thank you for sharing that. That's a nice demonstration. Anybody else got a point to make or a question to ask? Are you ready to eat and go out there and splash your light all over the place? Mm-hmm. Up and at it then. And thank you for being here, and thank you for all your good deeds, good thoughts that you create out there in the world. It does not only you good, but so many others. Now, as you get up from your chairs, give yourself a good shaking, a good stretch, and then into the world you go, full of sunshine and light, and splash it all over the place. It needs you out there. Take care. You're wonderful. And don't hide your light under the bushel. Well, under the table, we should say, for our day.